Joining us now, his return to this program. He was here first hour, but here to talk about quote-unquote academic freedom and freedom of speech is Howie Carr of WRKO Radio and the Boston Herald. So, Howie, what is going on here on campuses? Is this a new form of free thought fascism?
I think it's just gotten worse, JD. It's been going on for a long time. I taught a little course at Harvard back in the late 1980s, and I had to cross a picket line to get to my own class at the JFK School of Government. I forget what they said, if I was a homophobe or a racist or a nativist or, some misogynist, something. I just had to walk across. This is the way it's always been. It's just gotten a lot worse. I mean, you look at take a guy like David Koch of the Koch brothers. I mean, this is a guy who's given away hundreds of millions of dollars to various charities. He went to the same high school as I did. He's given probably that school $50-60 million. Some of the kids at the school are trying to get him thrown off the board of trustees. He also gave a lot of money to WGBH here, which does the Big Bird and all that. Every time he comes to a meeting of the board of trustees here at Channel 2, Big Bird and Elmo and all those people are out there saying, "Get rid of Coke, get rid of Coke." He gave $20 million to Nova, which is pushing global warming. But they don't like anybody who doesn't have the right political philosophy, even if they believe in free speech.
The late William F. Buckley offered these words years ago, and this is a paraphrase, but it was something like this: "There is no one quite so intolerant as an American leftist preaching tolerance." In other words, they tolerate only hearing their own opinion back to them, or in some pre-approved way, some tame, quote, polite exception. And of course, the civility goes out the door when it comes to silencing people on campuses. Now, Howie, you made mention of having to cross a picket line when you were teaching there at the Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Something going on, we talked about it last hour with former Boston Mayor and Ambassador to the Holy See, Raymond Flynn, and you weighed in on this as well, but I want to give you some more time. This whole notion at Harvard that there will be a celebration of a black mass, a satanic mass on campus. What on earth is going on there?
I think, as I said in the first hour, JD, I think Harvard has really lost its soul, and I mean that. The school was founded, I think, in 1636, and its mission, primary and always since then, basically, has been to train ministers. It was first and foremost a religious institution, and now they're just letting people rub the noses of some religions in the dirt. My newspaper, the Boston Herald, had what I thought was a great editorial this weekend. They said, now suppose these free spirits at Harvard, these real bohemians, beatnik, hippie, whatever you want to call them. Suppose they decided to have some kind of religious service dumping on Islam. Now, how long do you think that would be tolerated by the celebrating diversity administrators at Harvard University? About 2 seconds.
Yeah, and the other thing that might be interesting, remember back in the 1980s when all these schools were divesting their interests from South Africa because of apartheid? Wouldn't it be interesting to see these schools? They'll never do it, but do the calls for the same sort of divestiture for people embracing Sharia law. But before we get too heavy, we got to turn this thing, that old saying, laugh to keep from crying.
Right.
It's the anniversary of Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles. It's out in Blu-ray. Mel Brooks weighed in on this week saying, today you couldn't make this film because of political correctness. What's your take on film history, Blazing Saddles, and will we see it eventually banned from television because of political correctness?
I hadn't even thought of that, JD, but I think there's probably a pretty good chance you will see it banned. You remember a few years back there was a handful, nobody really, but a handful of people were trying to get the Charlie Chan movies banned. And Charlie Chan was a Chinese detective who was smarter than any of the white people he was dealing with. I mean, how was that a racist stereotype? He was making the white people dumb. I hadn't thought of that, but I could see Blazing Saddles be banned, or I could at least see him taking the N word out, and the movie would have these gaping holes in it where the sheriff would be holding a gun to his head and saying, or don't move, or the gets it. I mean, what would the movie be like if you don't have the word? I mean, how about that? I was thinking about this too, JD, when I read that story this weekend. I think they might have a problem with Alex Karras hitting the horse and knocking him over.
Oh, and we just had that on, so I don't know. Animal rights groups may be calling us asking for an apology.
You see the thing at the bottom of the screen at the when they're running the credits. No animal was hurt in the making of this screen gem.
That's right, and we'll keep that in mind. Howie, as always, we appreciate your perspective on matters cultural and conservative, or perhaps less than conservative. Remember Dwight Eisenhower's admonition, always take your job, but never yourself seriously. That's good advice for us all.